Being with the right woman can be a blessing, but being with the wrong woman can be a curse. But the unfortunate reality is that a lot of men have gotten themselves involved with women who are not truly best for them. Hi, it's Vernon again. And today we're diving into 5 huge warning signs that signal it's time to let a woman go before things get messy, toxic, or emotionally exhausting. If you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or unsure about a relationship, this video is for you. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss insights that could save your relationships and your peace of mind. Let's explore the 5 warning signs that every man should recognize before it's too late.
Number 1. When respect becomes a memory. One of the first and clearest warning signs that a relationship is in trouble is when respect disappears. At first, you might overlook small things, little dismissive comments, sarcasm, or moments where your feelings aren't acknowledged. But over time, these small cracks grow into a pattern. Respect isn't just about politeness. It's about truly valuing each other's boundaries, opinions, and time. When a woman consistently belittles your thoughts, mocks your decisions, or dismisses your feelings, it's more than just annoying behavior. It's a warning sign that the foundation of your relationship is weakening. Healthy love thrives on mutual appreciation and understanding, but when respect fades, it's replaced by frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Over time, these small but consistent patterns erode connection and intimacy, making it nearly impossible to maintain a partnership where both people feel seen, heard, and valued. Pay attention to how she treats you not just in private, but in public. Does she honor your words and support your decisions? Or has she started dismissing, ignoring, or undermining you? Once respect is gone, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. This is the point where you need to ask yourself, am I in a partnership that elevates me, or one that slowly erodes who I am? Respect, you see, is like oxygen in a relationship. You don't notice it when it's there, but you certainly feel it when it's gone. Dr. John Gottman's research spanning over 40 years shows that contempt, the opposite of respect, is the single strongest predictor of relationship failure. We were raised to be providers and protectors, to put women's needs before our own. This conditioning can make us interpret disrespect as something we should simply endure, rather than recognizing it as a fundamental violation of our human dignity. Once you notice respect slipping away, the first step is to truly recognize and reflect on how she treats you across different situations. Setting clear boundaries is essential. Communicate openly about behaviors you won't tolerate and the values you need honored. Evaluate whether the relationship consistently brings peace, growth, and mutual respect, because patterns of disrespect rarely change on their own. Most importantly, invest in your own self-worth, focusing on confidence and surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, so you're not trapped in a dynamic that diminishes your value. Either it exists naturally, or the relationship lacks the foundation necessary for healthy love. Have you experienced this erosion of respect in your own relationships? Sometimes recognizing the pattern is the first step towards reclaiming your dignity. But this loss of respect often leads to something even more damaging.
Number 2, the erosion of emotional safety. This brings us to a pattern that builds upon the loss of respect, the gradual destruction of emotional safety. My brother-in-law, Thomas, experienced this with his partner Sarah in a way that perfectly illustrates how dangerous this warning sign can become. Thomas, at 58, had always been someone who shared his feelings openly. He believed, as many of us were taught, that honest communication was the cornerstone of healthy relationships. But Sarah began using his emotional honesty as ammunition against him. When Thomas expressed concern about their financial planning, Sarah would later throw it back at him during arguments. "You're always worried about money because you're insecure." When he shared his feelings about his aging mother's health, she would dismiss his emotions as being overly dramatic or too sensitive for a man your age. The psychological term for this is weaponizing vulnerability, and it's one of the most damaging patterns that can exist in any relationship. The ancient philosopher Confucius taught that trust is built in drops and lost in buckets, and emotional safety operates the same way. When we cannot be authentic with our partner without fear of that authenticity being used against us, we begin to shut down emotionally, which kills intimacy and connection. But here's what Thomas initially missed, and what many men our age struggle to recognize. Emotional safety isn't just about being able to share feelings without judgment. It's about being able to disagree, to have bad days, to be imperfect without facing emotional punishment. Sarah's pattern wasn't accidental. She was systematically training Thomas to stop sharing anything that might inconvenience her or challenge her worldview. This is emotional manipulation disguised as relationship harmony, and it's incredibly toxic. The solution lies in what I call emotional boundary setting. It means having the courage to say, "I will not continue to share my thoughts, feelings, and honesty with someone who uses them against me." This isn't about shutting yourself off or becoming cold. It's about protecting the most precious part of who you are, your authentic self, until you find someone truly worthy of receiving it. By establishing these boundaries, you reclaim your emotional energy, reinforce your self-respect, and create the space for relationships that are built on mutual appreciation and genuine connection. Have you ever felt like opening up to someone just makes you more vulnerable to being hurt? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your experiences with emotional honesty in relationships and how you've protected your own heart. When erosion of emotional safety, it often opens the door to a more subtle but equally damaging pattern.
Number 3. The manipulation of your generosity. Generosity is one of the most admirable qualities a man can bring into a relationship. Giving your time, energy, and resources is natural when you care deeply about someone. But a huge warning sign emerges when your generosity stops being appreciated and starts being exploited. When your acts of kindness are met with expectation, guilt-tripping, or emotional leverage, it's no longer love, it's manipulation. This pattern often appears subtly at first. You might notice small comments like, "If you really loved me, you would,"
or constant pressure to prioritize her needs over your own. Over time, these behaviors can escalate, making you feel drained, resentful, or even questioning your own judgment. A partner who values you will celebrate your generosity without weaponizing it. They won't make your kindness a tool to control, guilt, or shape you to fit their desires. This manipulation is particularly insidious because it exploits one of our finest qualities, our desire to care for others. Research from Dr. Robert Cialdini on influence and persuasion shows that generous people are often targeted by manipulators precisely because their giving nature makes them vulnerable to exploitation. Recognizing this warning sign requires awareness and honesty with yourself. Ask, are my efforts reciprocated or simply expected? Does she express gratitude, or does she treat my generosity as a given? When you notice patterns where giving becomes a trap rather than a gift, it's time to pause and evaluate whether this relationship honors who you are. After decades of being providers, we often derive much of our self-worth from our ability to give. Recognizing when someone is exploiting this giving nature feels like admitting we've been foolish, which wounds our pride. A woman who truly cares about you will be just as affectionate when you're going through financial difficulties as when you're flush with resources. She'll value your presence as much as your presence. The test is simple but revealing. What happens to her affection when your generosity decreases? If love evaporates when resources become scarce, then what you thought was love was actually a business transaction disguised as romance. Setting boundaries around generosity doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. True partnership isn't a one-way street where your efforts are expected, taken for granted, or manipulated. It's about mutual investment. She should be just as willing to give, whether it's time, energy, emotional support, or care, as you are. By clearly defining what you are willing to give and what crosses the line into exploitation, you protect your energy, maintain self-respect, and ensure that your kindness remains a gift, not a tool for manipulation. We've seen how respect disappears, how emotional safety erodes, and how generosity gets manipulated. Each of these creates an environment where your authentic self becomes unwelcome in your own relationship. But we also have something even more subtle that often accompanies these patterns. Number 4, the silent treatment of your dreams. Every man has dreams, whether it's pursuing a passion, advancing a career, or planning for the future. When your partner consistently reacts with indifference, sarcasm, or passive-aggressive silence instead of encouragement, it chips away at your sense of purpose and confidence. This isn't about the normal ups and downs of a relationship, occasional disagreements, or even constructive criticism. It's something far more insidious. It's a consistent pattern where your hopes and ambitions are minimized, ridiculed, or simply ignored. A woman who genuinely respects you understands that your dreams are an essential part of who you are. She celebrates your successes, challenges you in ways that foster growth, and encourages you to pursue the vision you have for your life. When she dismisses or devalues your goals, it's not merely a lack of interest, it's a subtle but powerful message that your aspirations, your purpose, and your future are unimportant in her eyes.
Over time, this silent treatment can erode your confidence, dampen your motivation, and make you question whether pursuing your dreams is even worth it. The ancient philosopher Rumi wrote, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." This pattern is what psychologists call dream invalidation. And it's particularly damaging because it attacks not just your current happiness, but your sense of future possibility. But these dreams often represent our attempt to create meaning beyond our traditional roles as providers and protectors. When someone systematically undermines these aspirations, they're essentially telling us that our inner life doesn't matter. A loving partner doesn't have to share all your interests, but she should support your right to pursue what brings you joy and meaning. When someone consistently finds ways to sabotage your dreams through scheduling conflicts, emotional withdrawal, or subtle discouragement, they're revealing that your happiness is less important to them than their own comfort. The solution requires what I call dream protection. You must be willing to defend your right to grow and pursue meaning, even if it makes others uncomfortable. This isn't selfish, it's essential for maintaining your sense of self and purpose. Setting this boundary means surrounding yourself with people who not only accept your ambitions, but actively encourage them. By protecting your dreams, you ensure that your life moves forward according to your values, not someone else's agenda. Give this video a like if you've ever had to fight to protect your goals. Understanding this pattern prepares us for the final warning sign, one that ties all the others together in a way that can completely destroy a man's peace of mind.
Number 5. When your peace becomes her chaos. When your very presence seems to generate chaos in her life, and your peace becomes something she cannot tolerate, at some point, a relationship can reveal a dangerous pattern. Your calm, balanced life becomes a playground for her drama. When your partner constantly stirs conflict, pushes boundaries, or thrives on emotional turbulence, your inner peace starts eroding. What once was a source of stability now feels like walking on eggshells, constantly reacting instead of living intentionally. This isn't just about occasional arguments or life's inevitable stressors. It's about someone who repeatedly turns your serenity into a battleground for her needs, frustrations, or insecurities. Over time, this chaos consumes your energy, clouds your judgment, and undermines the sense of stability you deserve in a healthy partnership. We've spent decades cultivating wisdom, patience, and inner peace, qualities earned through experience, reflection, and growth. When someone consistently undermines or attacks these hard-won traits, they're not just challenging you in a moment of conflict, they're essentially asking you to become less than the person you've worked so hard to become. This isn't love or partnership. It's a relationship that chips away at your core self, demanding you sacrifice your maturity and serenity for their chaos. Protecting these qualities isn't arrogance, it's self-preservation, and it's essential for living a life that honors the journey you've taken to reach this point. You must be willing to safeguard your calm and maintain your emotional equilibrium, even if it makes others uncomfortable. This doesn't mean shutting off or becoming distant. It means recognizing that your serenity is a non-negotiable foundation for your life and relationships. A mature woman will respect that stability, drawing strength and inspiration from it, rather than trying to disrupt it.
By protecting your peace, you not only preserve your well-being, but also set the standard for the kind of partnership that truly enhances your life. When you find yourself constantly defending your right to remain calm, apologizing for thinking and acting rationally, or sacrificing your own peace to manage someone else's emotional storms, it's a clear signal that the relationship has become unhealthy. This isn't just occasional conflict, it's a pattern where your stability is treated as negotiable, and your emotional well-being is consistently undermined. In these situations, you're not in a partnership built on respect and support. You're in what feels like an emotional hostage situation, where your energy and serenity are being controlled rather than cherished. Recognizing this pattern is the first step toward reclaiming your life, setting boundaries, and seeking a connection where your peace is honored rather than weaponized.
As we conclude this difficult but necessary exploration, I want you to understand something profound. Recognizing these warning signs isn't about becoming cynical or close-hearted. It's about honoring the wisdom you've gained through decades of life experience and having the courage to protect the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. We've discovered when respect disappears, when emotional safety erodes, when your generosity is manipulated, when your dreams are systematically undermined, and when your peace becomes her chaos, these aren't separate problems. They're interconnected patterns that create what psychologists call a toxic relationship system. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." At our age, we must realize that we have the power to choose relationships that honor our worth rather than diminish it. Letting go of a toxic relationship isn't giving up on love. It's making room for real love to enter your life. Every moment you spend in a relationship that attacks your respect, safety, generosity, dreams, and peace is a moment stolen from the possibility of finding someone who celebrates these qualities instead of destroying them. The courage to let go comes from understanding that you deserve better, not because you're perfect, but because you're human, and every human deserves basic respect, emotional safety, and the freedom to grow and find peace. If you recognized your situation in any of these warning signs, I encourage you to seek support, whether through counseling, trusted friends, or support groups. Leaving a toxic relationship is never easy, but staying in one is infinitely harder on your soul. At our age, solitude is not failure. It's an opportunity to rediscover your own worth and create space for relationships that truly serve your highest good. If today's insights resonated with you, please like this video and share it with someone who might benefit from these lessons. Don't forget to subscribe my channel for more explorations into the profound truths that guide us through life's complexities. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences might help another man recognize patterns in his own life and make wiser choices. Thank you for having the courage to face these difficult truths alongside me.